Dr. Raichi shifted in his chair. Hachiak, report. Energy signature detected. Location, Alfheim. Match record, Namiya. Proceeding to intercept. Excellent. ETA, 1.75 standard days. He nodded, closing the transmission. The soft exhalation produced a cloud of steam in the cold air of his central chamber. I will never forgive the Saiyans for what they did to us, even if God does. 224? Gohan was currently doing push-ups in his quarters in Citadel. 225? Come on, Videl, why do you always make me do this? I've got to get back to writing. Because if I let you do your own thing, you never train, she snapped. You can't just assume that your natural power will always carry you through. You need to keep your skill and stamina up. Come on, 250, then you're done. 226, he grumbled. Gohan! Darye, the nervous older speaker, materialized in the doorway. Come quickly. Gohan stood up, looking at the new arrival. What's the problem? Some kind of large creature has landed a few miles from here. Ignored all attempts to communicate, marching straight towards the Citadel. When we used a platoon of drones to block its path, it just trampled over them. Looks like he has hostile intentions, and it's incredibly strong. Videl nodded, understanding. So your government or wherever wants Gohan to stop it? Darye grimaced. Not exactly. It's more of a personal request. The council is still undertaking the preliminary meeting to assess threat levels and vote on the necessity of an emergency committee. He rolled his eyes as he continued. The emergency committee would then elect an emergency action leader whose job it would be to give orders in the crisis. Well, not exactly orders, as each one would be subject to a review, council decision, and citywide vote. And this would take? She asked. Well, they've never actually had to do it yet. Neither of our two violent encounters in recent history have lasted long enough. But I'd guess anywhere from a day to a month. As I've said many times, bureaucracy. So, would you mind? Gohan headed for the door. Don't worry, you're pretty sensible. Gordian knot solution. The what? Earth saying, don't worry. Actually, I don't understand it either, Videl admitted. Read a history book sometime. I'm going to fight a thing. See ya. Despite this closing statement, his three traveling companions accompanied him, partly out of curiosity, partly out of boredom. It stood easily twice Gohan's height, or more, an organic-looking machine sporting red panels and casings on its torso, head and limbs a more pinkish color beneath. Green gem-like objects gleamed on its forehead, chest, forearms, and knuckles. Scanning. ID match. Saiyan. The machine's gaze swept from Gohan to his companions. Unknown. Gohan walked confidently up to it, folding his arms. What do you want? Why'd you attack those drones, and what's your attention here? It carried on walking, stopping inches away and staring down at him blankly. Wonder how strong this thing is. Just like the androids, I can't sense any ki. At some silent signal, the gems began to glow with an angry, burning emerald light. Gohan gasped, staggering back as if it dealt a physical blow as its power core flared to life. Whoa! I take it back. This ki, it's even greater than... With a speed he couldn't follow, its fist lashed out, catching him on the head and knocking him out instantly. Broly. Kuriza grimaced. Did you see that? It's fast! Be on your guard, Zarbon muttered. That energy just appeared out of nowhere. Slowly, its head turned. Its gaze locked on them. Secondary threat identified. Neutralize. This is delicious! Goku downed another mouthful of soup. This tastes like the fish my grandpa used to make when I was a kid. Well, it should. Chi-Chi grinned, spooning a serving into her bowl. It is the same fish. But it's huge and carnivorous, he mumbled. And it only lives in one lake up the mountain. How'd you hiked up a mountain and killed it with my own two hands? Goku beamed. I love you, you know that? You better. The things I do... A ringing came from the other room. A few seconds later, she returned with the phone. It's for you. Bulma. Huh? Goku took the phone, holding it awkwardly. He'd never been too comfortable or familiar with technology. Hey, Bulma. What is it? You better come quick. There was a tension behind her words. You're not going to like this. Goku walked into Capsule Corp to see a projector and screen already set up in the living room. What's all this? Bulma pressed a button on the remote. Received a transmission, broadcast all around the galaxy. Just watch. The screen flickered to life, immediately showing a disturbing image. A decapitated Namekian head stuck on a pole, which someone more aware of galactic current affairs would identify as Lord Slug. "I trust I have your attention," a raspy voice spoke. The image zoomed out to show a sinister-looking, blue-gray face. Visible veins snaked up and down the forehead. One red eye, one white, both blank and pupilless. A bushy mane of hair around the shoulders, but at the top of the head was bald, and a large mustache draped down the chin. "Now, if there are any Saiyans watching, I advise you not to disregard this message. It may be a matter of life or death. Observe." He indicated to his right, and the camera swung around to show 3 figures standing behind him. Gohan, Paragus, and a third Goku didn't recognize, short and wearing traditional Saiyan armor. All had a dark red ring around their eyes, and appeared to be conscious but immobile and passive. "These are the 3 I have gathered so far," he continued. "However, I have reason to suspect there are more still lurking around the galaxy. So if you can hear me, consider this a challenge. The coordinates broadcast with this message are my location. If you wish to attempt to rescue these 3, if you relish a call to battle, or if you simply desire to finish what you started all those years ago, I am waiting. Any non-Saiyan detected approaching will be shot down in orbit. Goodbye." The transmission cut out. Goku noticed he was trembling slightly. "Bulma? I need a ship." "Gotcha. I know you guys. I always have a spare lying around. It's actually been pretty easy replicating the one we used to go to Namek." "Not now, alright? I'm going. Tell Chi-Chi." "Are you mad? She'll bite my head off!" "Goodbye, Bulma." He strode out of the room, forcing himself not to scream in frustration. "He what?" Bulma winced as the phone shook with Chi-Chi's furious shout. He left a few minutes ago. Sorry, you have to admit he has a good reason. Well, just tell him he'd better bring our boy home safe or I'll kick his ass from here to next week. You hear me? Loud and clear, sadly." Nail entered the room just as Bulma put the phone down. "Am I going crazy or was Goku just here?" "Yeah, but he's kind of in space now. Long story." Bulma shrugged. Nail sighed. "Perfect timing. I just detected some weird key spike in the north. I was going to ask him to help me investigate. Are there any other fighters around?" "Yamcha's here, I think. I'll call Tien and Krillin if you want, though. Tell them where you're headed." "Thanks." He headed back outside. "Hey, Yamcha!" "What's that? You're going?" Launch asked as Chaozu finished relaying the message to her and Tien. "Yeah," Tien nodded. "I'm sure Nail and Bulma wouldn't ask something like this if it wasn't serious. It could be dangerous, so I'm going to ask you two to stay here." Launch frowned. "Yamcha's going." Silence for several seconds. Tien sighed. "Yeah, point taken. Chaozu, do you mind staying and watching Break? Can't really take her along." "Okay." Chaozu smiled. "I'm not really that keen on fighting anyway. You guys be careful." "Sure." Launch handed Break to Chaozu, and immediately the baby started protesting loudly. Hey, calm down. It's not like it's a total stranger." The crying continued. "Come on. Shush. Quiet now. It's okay." In a burst of light, Break's hair turned golden and stood up on end. A wave of destructive force rolled out from her body, hurling Chaozu across the room. Break landing heavily on the floor, but not appearing to be affected. Tien scratched his head. "Is that supposed to happen? I mean, at such a young age." Launch shrugged, picking the struggling baby up and sitting on a nearby chair. "The future Break did warn us it happened early with her. That unstable genetic combination. Well, I guess I'm staying here. Go get him!" "Right." I should get going. Tien turned and flew out the doorway into the cold morning air. "Are you going to be okay?" Chaozu asked Launch. "I mean, even a baby Super Saiyan must be pretty strong." "True." Launch growled as she wrestled with Break, trying to keep her still. "But she doesn't know how to use her strength at all. And besides, Kaioken ×2! A red aura enveloped her, and she felt new strength surge into her muscles, finally letting her hold Break easily. "There, that's better. Now quit your whining and go to sleep already. I swear, next time I'm just going to leave you here and go punch someone." Precisely 46.5 hours later. Goku rushed out as soon as the ship touched down on the barren moon. little to no life visible around him, but he ignored the scenery, heading straight for the tall chimney-like structure on the horizon. Wonder if he's there. Only one way to find out. It certainly seems so. He began to sense some key signatures as he approached, but most of them were strangely hazy, as if something was partially blocking them. He guessed those were inside. Still, it seems like there's one out here. It's familiar. Wait. That couldn't be. Could it? He landed next to the building, standing a few meters behind a depressingly familiar figure. Kakarot. Vegeta turned around, smirking at him. I see you finally decided to grace me with your presence. Where's your slightly less moronic brother? He's dead. My condolences. I'm sorry someone else beat me to it. I hope I won't be denied the same with you. Vegeta wore a heavily customized suit of battle armor, with the shoulder and leg guards removed. It always seemed to get snapped off in battle anyway, or so he'd reasoned. That's your brat he's got a hold of, isn't it? What's it to you? Goku asked tersely. You're just here for the fight, aren't you? Actually, no. Vegeta frowned. Much as it pains me to say it, there's someone I care about enough to come to their rescue. What's this? He cares for somebody? Goku shook his head. Who are you, and what have you done with Vegeta? Very funny, Kakarot. But I could never bring myself to abandon my brother, Tabo. Oh, so that's who the third guy was. Say, he did look a bit like you. How come he survived when Frieza blew up our home planet? You really are ignorant. Tabo was banished to the outer reaches of the galaxy for his cowardice, low power, and unwillingness to fight. In other words, not a true Saiyan at all. Vegeta pointed at the screen on the front of the building, which portrayed a video feed of the 3 captive Saiyans. What I'd like to know is what that worm Paragus is doing here. You know him? Goku shrugged. As far as I know, his son Broly saved him. Broly was a legendary Super Saiyan, which basically means he was born with a naturally huge power. Gohan killed him, though. Incorrect. The voice, belonging to the man from the transmission, emanated from the tower. What? No! Goku looked up at the source of the sound. I saw it happen! There's no way he could have survived! Then you are mistaken, the voice continued, because I'm detecting the energy signature of the Saiyan Broly rapidly approaching this planet. He is in a large cargo freighter. Pause. Judging by the velocity and approach vector of said vehicle, I do not believe he knows how to fly it. Projected impact zone, 3 kilometers east. Stand by. At this point, a low humming noise became audible, and the 2 Saiyans looked up to see a slowly growing light in the sky. Eventually it formed itself into an elongated oval shape, a common cargo ship model. As predicted, it did not land so much as plummet, meeting the ground edgeways with a satisfyingly thunderous impact, before suddenly exploding and nearly deafening them. He's right, Goku said quietly. I can sense him from here. Broly survived! Well, who cares? Vegeta grunted. What's the big deal with this Broly anyway? What's a legendary Super Saiyan? Isn't the Super Saiyan legendary anyway? Broly was born with the power. It's a sort of hidden genetic switch in Saiyan DNA. He didn't have to work for Super Saiyan like we did. And it gives him access to a higher form, which is what we call the legendary form. They both transformed to the first level of Super Saiyans they felt, then eventually saw Broly's approach. He landed in front of them, smirking slightly. Well, it's been a long time, he chuckled. How did you survive? Goku snapped. Gohan killed you! He blasted you right into space! Well, he should have tried harder, Broly snorted. I've always been a survivor. I floated in space. I don't know how long, only kept alive by my unconscious power. The same power that saved me when Frieza tried to destroy us. Finally, a ship picked me up, recognized I was a Saiyan, and their captain decided to drop me here on their way to their destination. They were too kind-hearted for their own good. That's what's left of their ship back there. He paused. So, the Tuffle in there has my father. Vegeta nodded. Right. You're here to save him. From Kakarot's description of you, I wouldn't have thought you cared. I don't. But I'm going to kill the old bastard. And I'll be damned if I let someone else beat me to it. Hold on, Goku interjected. What's a Tuffle? Guys? Vegeta glanced at him, then back at Broly. Raditz never told you. Typical. Planet Vegeta, named as I was for my father, used to be known as Plant. That was the name the Tuffles gave it. We Saiyans used to be locked in an unending war with them for control of the planet. Our warriors were much more powerful than theirs, but they were cultured, advanced, masters of technology, whereas we still lived in caves. The war raged on throughout the years, with neither side able to gain an advantage. Finally, a full moon, a rare event on our homeworld, caused our entire race to transform into Ozarus, and we wiped them out. After renaming the planet after my father, the king who led us to victory, we quickly adapted to the Tuffles technology. Unfortunately, it was not long after that we were enslaved by Frieza. Right. Goku looked over at the tower. So this guy's one of these Tuffles? I guess you missed one. We'll see. He looks the part anyway, as does his technology. Vegeta faced the tower, shouting a challenge up to the heavens. Well, we're all here! You wanted us! You've got us! Are you going to come out and face us, or are we going to have to drag you out of there? Answer me! The giant screen showed their enemy's face again. You are correct. My name is Dr. Raichi, and I am the last of the Tuffle race. Well, perhaps not even that. I am but a ghost now, the embodiment of my people's hatred for you. Anyway, he gestured something off screen. You will have your battle, Saiyan. You will face the pinnacle of our technology, deploying Hachiak and Baby. Goku raised an eyebrow. Baby? Doesn't sound very threatening. Raichi chuckled. Merely a private joke. I once referred to the project as my baby. It seemed to dislike this name, and its discomfort amuses me. So the name stuck. In any case, you three appear to be an overall more powerful group than the Saiyans I'd previously captured. Hence why I'm sending them both. Hachiak alone was sufficient for these three. Alright, here they come! Goku growled as he and Vegeta entered fighting stances. Broly just folded his arms, turning Super Saiyan nonchalantly. Hachiak strode out of the tower's entrance, gems burning green and emitting a constant pulsing stream of ki, followed by a smaller figure, murderous intent evident in his red-framed eyes. Goku did a double take. Gohan? So, Baby's possessing Gohan. What'll become of that? Find out in the next chapter in just a few seconds. Gohan and Hachiak stalked forwards, silhouetted against the light from within the tower. What the hell is this? Goku asked. Where's this baby? What's Gohan doing? I think, Vegeta muttered, the kid is Baby. Look at him. His face. He looks savage. I see. You, Broly rumbled, recognizing Gohan. You're the one. His body started to shake. No! More! I won't let you! You hear me, Broly? No more! I'll kill you! Broly screamed, his sanity slipping away as he once again became the legendary Super Saiyan, muscles filling out, aura taking on its green tone. I see. Vegeta took a step back. He is something. Goku braced himself, knowing he could hardly rely on the other Saiyans to be anything approaching allies. They just happened to have a larger score to settle with Raichi than they did with each other for the time being. It's begun. Broly roared, charging straight at Gohan, but Hachiak stepped in from the side, his punch taking Broly by surprise and launching him away into the dirt. Primary threat identified. Highest power level located. Neutralizing. Broly flipped himself up and away as Hachiak ran at him, swinging another punch, bringing his elbow up into its face. So, I have to get through you first. Fine! The two huge warriors flew off to the right, viciously hammering each other with powerful strikes. Goku and Vegeta kept their attention on Gohan as he approached. Baby, I presume, Vegeta said, unmoving. Gohan smirked, turning Super Saiyan as he did so. Correct. Hachiak over there is the pinnacle of our combat technology in terms of brute force. I, on the other hand, am the ultimate infiltrator. Careful, I might possess you two next. Then it's a simple matter of having you commit suicide, which isn't difficult when I have complete control over your minds and bodies. He spoke with Gohan's voice, but at a slightly higher pitch, and a sense of arrogance pervaded his speech. Still, Goku replied, I know for one thing that you can't just control us at any time you want, or you've already done it. There has to be some kind of trigger. Gohan's eyes narrowed. You're mistaken if you think that little deduction will save you. You still don't know what the trigger is. And if I fail, Hachiyak will not. Not to mention... He paused, grinning. No. Actually, I won't mention it. Don't want to ruin the suspense. Let my son go! This is the only warning you get. Is that so? Gohan raised an arm, firing an energy beam straight at Goku, who vanished, appearing behind Gohan and kicking him in the head. Gohan stumbled forwards, but rolled with the motion, pushing off the ground with one hand and punching Goku in the stomach, knocking him away. Vegeta came flying in from above, and Gohan blocked his overhead kick, jumping away and raising his guard. I see. Goku stepped up next to Vegeta. That's partly Gohan's fighting style, but part of it must be baby's. He's a lot more skilled than usual. Don't waste my time with useless information! Vegeta charged in again, ducking Gohan's quick jab and responding with an uppercut that launched Gohan into the air. He raised one hand. I'll finish this right now! Big bang it! No! Goku rocketed in from behind, tackling Vegeta to the floor before he could fire. What the hell are you doing, Kakarot? Vegeta growled, kicking Goku off him. This is no time for sentimentality! He's the enemy now! Let's get one thing clear, Vegeta. If you try to kill my son again, you won't live to regret it. Oh, is that a threat? Vegeta laughed. I should warn you, if you want to take me on as well as this creature, this isn't anything like my full power. If I were to go all out, taking the both of you down would be like swatting insects. Is that so? Goku smiled. No reason to show him Super Saiyan 2 until I have to. Might as well wait and see. Excuse me if I don't believe you. The power you're using now is already much greater than anything I've seen or heard from you before. Then allow me to demonstrate. Vegeta sunk into a lower stance, a faraway look entering his eyes. Are you ready, clown? To witness a power not seen for thousands of years! What are you? Yeah! Vegeta's ki skyrocketed. The planet shook, and blue sparks surrounded his body. Flares of golden light arced out from his aura, melting the ground where they touched it. Now do you see? The sleeper has awakened! I am the Prince of all Saiyans once again! Goku braced himself against the waves of force emanating from Vegeta. You don't say. What's so funny? Vegeta demanded. I'm about to destroy your son! What's funny about that? You think you're the only one who can hide his power? That's funny. It's my turn now. He reached within, finding a Super Saiyan 2 power and pulling it to the surface. You're not the only one here with hidden depths. What the? No, you can't! Vegeta was at a loss. Why? Why is it that every time I rise to new heights of power, you're always there? You're one step ahead of me. It's like I'm climbing a mountain. And just when I think I've achieved something by reaching the summit, there you are waiting for me with that damn smile of yours. You and your idiot brother. His fists trembled with fury. Make no mistake. When I've dealt with Raichi, you're next. Do you hear me? Gohan scowled as he floated down towards them. Easy though I am to overlook, monkeys, I am still here trying to kill you lest you forget. According to this one's memories, he is also capable of this Super Saiyan 2 form. I see it is time to utilize it. What? Vegeta spluttered. The child too? Red sparks began to crackle up and down Gohan's aura as his hair stood up on end. He seemed to be having some difficulty transforming, beads of sweat trickling down his face. Blue bioelectricity began to appear too, mingling with the red. Whenever they touched, both would vanish with a hiss and a pop. More and more blue sparks began to appear, finally overwhelming and completely eliminating the red. Gohan fell to his knees, as if struck, and the red rings vanished from around his eyes. Dad? He looked up, wide-eyed. Dad! Don't get cut! He blurted out, pointing to a small cut on his neck. It enters your body through your bloodstream and takes you over. It's okay, son. Goku helped Gohan up. I guess something about Super Saiyan 2's aura reacts badly with Baby. Is it dead? No. Gohan indicated the tower. It has a main body in there. It's still got control of the other two anyway. Right. Goku looked around. Hey Vegeta! How's Broly doing over there? Vegeta indicated the blur of movement a few meters away. See for yourself! Metal and muscle collided again and again, one unwilling to surrender or back down, the other mechanically incapable of doing so. The collisions rang out across the plane, until finally, Broly's aura dimmed slightly. His movements began to slow, while Hachiak's remained as fast and precise as ever. Broly staggered away, panting. Let me through, damn it! Get out of my way! Hachiak simply looked passively at the outclassed Saiyan, then raised one hand, leaving its other arm hanging by its side. The message was clear. I'll beat you with this one hand. Intimidation delivered, awaiting emotional response. You make fun of me? Broly roared. I am the legendary warrior! He swung an overhead hammer fist, but Hachiak caught it one-handed, swinging around and sending Broly into an uncontrolled spin. Hachiak stepped in, punching Broly square in the face. Broly fell back, landing in the dirt. Hachiak crouched down, and ignoring the feral Saiyan's ineffective attempts to counterattack, proceeded to calmly and methodically beat Broly senseless with the same hand. It took over 2 minutes of relentless punching, but he wasn't in any hurry. Finally, Broly's movements stopped completely. His head slumped back, his aura faded, and he shrank visibly as he receded into his base form, unmoving. Broly incapacitated. Finish? Yes or no? Deep within the tower, Dr. Raichi tapped the N key on his control panel. Acknowledged. Proceeding to secondary targets. Dr. Raichi steepled his fingers. So, the Super Saiyan 2 repels my baby. If that's the case, I may need you yet, Broly. Uh-oh. Goku steeled himself as Hachiak lumbered towards them. Broly's down, guys. Looks like we're next. I knew we should have helped Broly! Vegeta snapped. We could have taken that thing by surprise! Get between those two? No thanks. Would have done us more harm than good. Goku shot a questioning glance at Vegeta. Hey, do you mind if I have a crack at this guy first? I want to see what he's made of. Go ahead, knock yourself out. Vegeta grunted. I'm really excited about the prospect of killing Raichi himself. His puppets don't concern me. But I'll be watching, in case you fail and I have to show you how a real Saiyan fights. Alright, you do that. And Gohan, make sure you keep Super Saiyan 2 up. As long as you stay transformed, Broly can't control you. Gohan nodded. I'll try, but I've never maintained it for long before. Just do your best. Goku turned to face Hachiak's approaching form. Now, as for you, show me what you've got! Hachiak stomped up to Goku, lunging at him. Goku jumped back, easily avoiding the swing. The machine punched again, and Goku caught its forearm in both hands, swinging it over his head and smashing it into the ground behind him. Ha! Nice try, but you're too slow to catch me. Hachiak recovered quickly, spinning around and leading with a low kick, followed by a double-handed swipe. Neither hit their target, Goku darting around the attacks and closing the distance for a flying kick to Hachiak's chest, sending it flying into the wall of the tower. He grinned, rubbing his leg where it ached from striking the robot's armor. Hey, feel free to give up any time you like. Hachiak lumbered out of the shadow of the tower, still expressionless, but now visibly damaged. Silently across its arms in front of its body, the glow in its gems growing in intensity. Without warning, its ki shot up for an instant, then it released the gathered energy in a massive emerald blast, leaving a cone-shaped crater in the ground in front of it. Except for one section, upon which Goku stood, one still smoking hand held out to block the attack. Not bad. I've had worse. Seeing Goku unharmed, Hachiak reassessed the situation. Report. Energy supply at 97%. Armor at 85%. Estimate 20 to 50% disadvantage in current combat. Conclusion. Current situation untenable. Activating Alpha Protocol. Hachiak's image began to shimmer, slowly separating out into 2 Hachiaks. 3. 4. It kept splitting, dividing, growing in number until a whole horde of copies surrounded Goku. Well, this is new. Goku looked from one to the next. They aren't after images, they all have Hachiak's ki. But if it's the multiform technique, I've never seen it used on this kind of scale. What's more, his ki doesn't seem to have gone down at all. He took in a deep breath, preparing to attack. I can fight one of him, but this is a completely different story. Oh well. Here goes! Yeah! He leapt, charging the nearest Hachiyak and punching straight through it, but it dissipated into smoke. What? Another one came up behind him, kicking him in the back. Goku hissed, turning to face it. I see. That's the only real one. Now where? It was already gone, lost amidst a sea of copies. Damn it! Which one? I'm not going to get anywhere just hitting them one at a time. He spread his arms and began firing small ki blasts in all directions, turning as he fired, dissipating dozens of clones. He kept firing until finally, one of the blasts hit something solid. There! He rocketed forwards, drawing back his fist, but the real Hachiyak effortlessly created a swarm of new copies to replace the destroyed ones, and they all rushed him at once, flying straight at his face and blocking his view. Get out of my way! He yelled, throwing out a wave of energy around his body and blasting away all the copies at once. However, at that exact moment, the real Hachiyak flew up behind him, smashing an elbow into his shoulder and knocking him to the ground. Ugh! Goku skidded to a halt, standing up straight and scanning the many images of Hachiyak floating above him. Well, this is just great. How am I supposed to beat this guy now? Dad! Gohan called. Just get his attention for a few more seconds. I've got an idea. Goku shrugged. Sure. Vegeta snorted. Oh, I can't wait to see what kind of brilliant strategy the small child here comes up with. He deadpanned. Anyone ever tell you to shut your mouth? Goku shouted over to Vegeta as he charged the massive Hachiyaks again. Frequently. They don't tend to live long, though. Goku began a chain of quick, short-ranged attacks that scattered Hachiyak clones like leaves. But every few seconds, the real one would sneak up on him and land a heavy blow, before vanishing back into the swarm. Hurry up, Gohan! I can't keep this up forever! Gohan nodded. Alright. All beings with an unusually high power level have a flicker of fifth-dimensional presence. Took me a while to find his. The clones can fool ki sense with some kind of artificial interference, but only one of them has this presence. And I found it. He leapt into the air, orb blazing gold, and soared into the center of the group of Hachiyaks. I've got you! He slammed into the real Hachiyak, pummeling it with a barrage of rapid punches and kicks. It didn't take long for one particularly damaging attack to send Hachiyak plummeting to the ground, landing with a solid thump. And there was a slight whirring noise as its clones disappeared, and it stood up, sparks flying from several cracked armor segments. Awesome, Gohan! Goku gave a quick thumbs up. But how did you know which one it was? Kind of a long story. I'll tell you later. It's to do with the new technique I've learned. Gohan turned to face Hachiyak. Hold on. It's doing something. Alpha protocol ineffective. Report. Energy supply at 92%. Armor at 68%. Odds of victory under current circumstances rapidly approaching 0. Activating beta protocol. A low hum began to emanate from Hachiyak. Its outline started to glow a bright green. Goku took a few steps back. Is it just me, or is it getting bigger? Your powers of observation stagger me. Vegeta muttered as he watched Hachiyak grow at least 5 times its previous size, massively dwarfing all of them. Now, I suggest we move! The 3 Saiyans leapt back as Hachiyak's gigantic fist crashed into the ground where they'd been standing moments ago. Kamehameha! Gohan yelled as he fired the 2-handed energy wave at Hachiyak, who simply smacked it aside backhanded. Gohan lowered his hands, gaping. It didn't have any effect at all! I don't like this. We may be outmatched here. Huh. Speak for yourself. Vegeta floated up to hover next to him. Look, kid. You may be at the 2nd level of Super Saiyan as well, but don't think that puts you in the same league as me. I've trained hard to power up this form, as, I can see, has your father. You, on the other hand, have been slacking off, it seems. He pointed to himself, smiling. So why don't you just stand back and let a real warrior handle this? Vegeta sprinted along the ground, Hachiyak's figure looming ever closer on the horizon as he closed in. A giant hand swung down again, and Vegeta jumped, landing on Hachiyak's wrist and running along it. Alright, you metal freak! You're about to see what happens when you go up against the Prince of Saiyans! Reaching the shoulder, he formed an energy ball in one hand and slammed it right into Hachiyak's neck, making it stumble sideways. One hand reached up to swat him off its shoulder, but he was already moving, backflipping down to the ground. He swept his hand sideways, forming a semicircular arc of yellow energy that snaked along the ground. colliding with Hachiak's ankles at great speed. Hachiak tripped, almost righted itself, then finally toppled over as the energy arc exploded, blasting Hachiak off its feet. Vegeta stood triumphantly over his downed enemy. "Do you understand now? Your size means nothing!" Hachiak pushed off the ground with one hand, launching itself at Vegeta, reaching out to grab him with the other hand. Vegeta grinned. "Yes, that's right! Come and get it!" He jumped into the air, wrapping his arms around Hachiak's outstretched forearm at the wrist, so thick his arms couldn't reach it all the way around. Anchoring himself to it with his ki, he heaved on the monstrous machine, and with a mighty effort lifted it clear off the ground, swinging it around and around. Yeah! After the fourth spin, he let go, Hachiak flying off into a nearby mountain and reducing it to rubble. Vegeta soared up into the air above it, thrusting his hand out downwards. Big Bang Attack! The silvery spear of energy burst forth from his palm, arcing down and colliding with Hachiak full force before detonating. Goku grunted, shielding himself from the shockwave. Vegeta lowered himself to the ground, his Super Saiyan aura pulsing gently, sparks crackling like liquid fire. "Such is the fate of all who oppose me." Goku gaped. "Wow, what an attack! You've really improved, Vegeta." Vegeta sighed. "Of course I have, you dolt! The last time you saw me, I wasn't even a match for Frieza's first form! Does stating the obvious run in your family or suggest your hobby?" Goku ignored him. "Hey, Gohan!" His head swung back and forth. Gohan? Where'd he go?" "Hold that thought," Vegeta growled. "The thing isn't finished yet." "What? But your attack was incredible!" "Give me a break," Goku complained. Warning. Hachiak slowly rose from the wreckage, the vengeful titan blocking out the sun. "We're in trouble," Goku muttered. "It doesn't look happy." "Yes, I can see that!" Vegeta snapped. "This unit is in danger of total systems failure." Huh? "Where's that coming from?" Vegeta hissed. "Sounds like Gohan," Goku replied. "But where?" "Report. Power supply at 48%. Armor at 35%. May... Wait a minute." Goku looked upwards. "I think I'm sensing his ki, but it's kind of faint." "You're right!" Vegeta's eyes narrowed. "No, that can't be right. He's..." "Situation critical. Protocol Beta ineffective." May... Activating. A vibrant blue energy beam erupted out of Hachiak's chest, punching a gigantic hole straight through the robot. It froze, standing still for a moment as enough smoke to choke a city billowed out of the hole. Eventually, tortuously slowly, it began to fall. It tumbled over backwards with a shriek of metal on stone, and this time it didn't move. Gohan landed in front of the other two. "Hey guys, thanks for distracting me, Vegeta." "What the... Vegeta took in a deep breath, trying to calm down. "What the hell did you just do?" "It's that new technique I mentioned," Gohan told them. "It's called shifting." Concentrating briefly, he shifted to behind them, causing them to start in surprise, swiveling to face him. "I just used it to teleport inside it while Vegeta was keeping it busy. And before you ask, it's not like instant transmission, no. I don't have to lock onto an energy signal, but it's much more short-ranged." Report. Power supply 12%. Armor reboot. Armor 3%. Warning. Situation critical. "So how exactly did you tell which Hachiak was real earlier?" Vegeta asked irritably. It's kinda complicated. Science and, stuff." "Never mind then!" He turned away from Gohan. "I don't recall asking for your help." "I don't recall asking you to invade my home planet. Guys?" Goku held a hand up for silence. "Does anybody else hear that?" Activating Gamma Protocol. What a cliffhanger! But don't worry. The battle with Hachiak will conclude in the next chapter. After that, who knows what'll happen. See you in a bit. Alright. Goku patted his son on the back. "Good work, guys. So, Gohan, shall we go?" He thought he heard something, some kind of clicking, whirring noise, but it seemed gone now. "What's this?" Vegeta snarled. "Your enemy isn't beaten! You can't leave now!" This is a feud between Saiyans and Tuffles, Goku said, shrugging. I don't consider myself a Saiyan. It's none of my concern. I was only here to rescue my son. You are mistaken. Raichi's voice boomed from the screen on the tower. None of you will be leaving alive. You have made several fatal mistakes. He paused, turning to some device next to him and examining it. The first is assuming that you have beaten Hachiak. Goku gulped. You know, I don't like the sound of that. For once, I find myself agreeing with you, Vegeta muttered. Gamma Protocol activated. Continue primary objective. Terminate Saiyans. Is that? Don't tell me. Gohan took a step back. It's still alive. The silhouette that appeared from the ruins of a once mighty mountain seemed different somehow. It was back to normal size, for one thing, no longer in its giant form. More detail became clear as it drew closer. It seemed to be completely undamaged, having totally repaired itself. Its shoulder pads jutted out a few feet from its body, and overall its armor had grown bulkier and more imposing, further increasing its impressive size. Each main gem was now ringed by smaller, blue gems. Huh! Vegeta grinned, trying not to let his doubt show. So it put on some more armor and fixed itself. Doesn't matter! We could just kill it again! This thing is out of its league against even one of us! Who wants to— Hachiak's gems fired up, blazing green and bathing them in its glow. Its ki reappeared, growing at an insane rate and finally settling at a level even higher than theirs. What? That, Goku breathed, is the highest power level I've ever sensed. And I can beat Frieza by looking at him funny. Okay. Gohan tried to calm his mind. Nobody's unbeatable. We haven't even started a fight. We're far from beaten. Kamehame! He stared into Hachiak's eyes as he charged his attack. The robot responded by raising one hand to block it as it advanced. As expected, the idiot. Without warning, Gohan's image scattered into the wind, reassembling directly behind Hachiak. Ha! He released the attack, throwing it directly into the Tuffle machine's back, engulfing it in blue light. Now! Goku shouted, and he and Vegeta leapt forwards to follow up on Gohan's surprise attack. Hit him hard! Gah! Hachiak barreled towards them out of the glow of the Kamehameha wave, completely unharmed, flinging both arms out and slamming one into each Super Saiyan's neck. It stopped its charge there, launching a spinning kick back that sent Gohan flying. The three fighters hit the ground almost simultaneously. Gohan lifted himself from the dirt, head pounding. Maintaining Super Saiyan 2 was difficult enough, but doing so while trying to hold back the rage that went hand in hand with the untrained version of the form was a monumental effort. He could already feel his control starting to slip. He certainly wasn't going to revert back to a lower form to avoid it, not with Baby still a threat. Dad! I'm going to lose control! That's not too bad, Goku replied, feeling blood trickle down his arm as he stood. At least we're in battle. You have somebody to focus your anger on if you lose it. Still, try and stay calm. You come up with some pretty good plans when you're thinking straight. I'll try! Vegeta braced himself. This is hardly the time for father-son talk! Here it comes! Hachiak was running at him, deceptively fast for such a huge machine. Vegeta tensed up, springing into action at the last moment and landing a swift punch to Hachiak's face. It didn't seem to notice, bringing both arms down and smacking the prince to the floor. Goku ran in from behind, putting his weight into a shoulder charge that made Hachiak stumble forwards. Vegeta, pushing himself upwards, swung both feet up into Hachiak's relatively unarmored stomach, hurling it in the air. Gohan appeared above it, smashing it to the ground two-handed. Don't give it time to recover! Vegeta yelled. The three Saiyans formed up above Hachiak's prone form, unleashing a continuous stream of energy bullets. After over 10 seconds of this onslaught, Hachiak finally managed to escape, jumping unsteadily away. Its impact on the rocks behind as it landed threw out cracks around it as it attempted to regain its balance. Leaning over his console, Dr. Raichi had a moment of doubt. Hachiak's physically damaged, even in its Gamma form. I may have severely underestimated these Super Saiyans. Hachiak crossed its arms, the light in the gems on its forearms brightening. It hung there for a few seconds, almost motionless. Whatever it's doing, don't let it! Vegeta ordered. The trio flew full speed at their enemy, but before they could reach it, it finished charging up, unleashing its blast again. This was the same energy wave it had used on Goku before, but now far more potent, flinging them all back like ragdolls and laying waste to the whole area in front of Hachiak. Ugh. Goku heaved a fallen rock off of himself. Gotta do something about that one. Seems like we can just about take it when all three of us work together. He flared up his aura, facing Hachiak's oncoming form, but it seems to be pretty good at separating us. He tried to dodge, but wasn't fast enough to avoid Hachiak's knee, which struck him on the chin, hurling him in the air. He landed next to Gohan and Vegeta, both still recovering. Dad! He's charging again! Gohan warned. Hachiak was indeed in its charge posture, gems burning green. Damn it all! Vegeta took off, trying to fly out of range. Gohan immediately shifted away, appearing several meters behind Hachiak. Goku, however, was still reeling from the last blow, and took the second blast full force, disappearing in the cloud of smoke it threw up. Phew! Something seemed to change behind Gohan's eyes. His rational mind finally gave in. Leave my dad alone! Alert! Significant power increase detected. Hachiak backed away, catching Gohan's fist and throwing him overhead. Gohan spun in the air, turning back and flying back at Hachiak. It sidestepped, kicking him out of the air, but he kicked off the ground, blasting Hachiak at point-blank range with a two-handed energy bolt. It was undamaged, but momentarily off balance, and Gohan kept up his attack, unrelenting, coming at it from every angle. Vegeta, watching this take place, was about to rush Hachiak from behind when something strange caught his attention. He dropped to the ground, next to the clearing smoke where Goku's figure was becoming visible. Hey Kakarot! You weren't as unprepared for that attack as you pretended to be, were you? Goku, emerging from the smoke, shook his head. Nope, I blocked it at the last second. Thought so. You barely lost any energy at all. But why the pretense? Were you trying to get the brat to use his full power? No, actually. He's still not as powerful as either of us. He's keeping up the pressure on Hachiak, but he won't last long. Goku looked over at Gohan and Hachiak, still fighting. Actually, I was trying to get a good look at that blast it has. Its defenses drop while it's charging. We can use that. Just need to know exactly how long it takes, and I didn't quite get it last time. But, if you could get it to launch it at you just once while I wasn't in the firing line. Understood! I'll lure it into a shooting match! Vegeta took off again, flying straight at Hachiak. Just don't screw this up, we're all dead! As he neared the metal monster, it unflinchingly withstood a kick to the head from Gohan, smacking him away backhanded. Just then, Vegeta cannoned into it from the side, staggering it away. It turned to face him, and he immediately retreated, charging up an energy attack between his hands. Hachiak began to do the same, and Goku watched intently, counting the seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. Vegeta grinned, feeling the energy sparking between his hands. This should be plenty. Kakarot won't even get his shot. I'll finish it now! He threw his hands forward. Gallic Gun! 9, 10, 11, 12. The beam flew straight and true, coming within inches of Hachiak. Before. 15. 16! It opened its arms wide, firing the beam. It carved through Vegeta's Gallic Gun as if it wasn't even there, smashing into him and throwing him to the floor. Gah! He hissed, as he felt the intense heat of Hachiak's ki scorching his body. Kakarot! I hope you're happy! Kill this son of a bitch already! Alright. Goku took a deep breath as Hachiak approached. He beckoned with one finger. Come get me! Hachiak, stony-faced, crossed its arms and began to charge up. Goku's aura flared up around him, his body filling with energy. I have to the count of 15 to attack. His defenses are down before he fires. Huh? The strange energy his father was emitting snapped Gohan out of his rage. What's that doing? It feels like he's filling his whole body with energy, not just focusing it for an attack. Is this some kind of new technique? And this energy, it feels like the Kaioken? Only not quite. What is he doing? Even our strongest attacks haven't done any kind of serious damage to this thing. 5, 6, 7, 8. Goku's entire body began to shake. Flame-like red arcs of energy swirled in his aura. He grit his teeth, his eyes wild. What is this, Kakarot? Vegeta wondered, looking on. You can't control that level of power for fighting. There's just no point summoning up that much energy if you're not going to use an energy attack. If you're going to do that, start concentrating it already. Damn it, you're going to get us all killed. Yeah! 10, 11. Goku's eyes narrowed. Okay. In a sudden, almost jerky movement, he swung his hands down, a swirling vortex of red and blue energy pulsing into life between them. 12, The energy simply flowed out of his body into the attack. In an instant. Here's a little technique I've been practicing. Times 10! 13. Error. Power levels exceeds this unit's capability to detect it. Sensor overload. Imminent. 14. Kamehameha! Straightening out his arms, Goku launched a blue and red beam which almost instantaneously grew to colossal size, completely swallowing Hachiyak. Instruments at Dr. Raichi's tower overloaded and exploded. What bodies of water existed on the desolate moon boiled and evaporated in a flash. The shockwaves cracked the foundations of the tower, and as they spread out completely leveled every one of the moon's mountains and cliffs. A passing asteroid was shattered into tiny fragments, utterly obliterated as the gigantic attack spread its destruction out into space, like ripples through a pond, coincidentally saving the inhabitants of a nearby world, who would have all been killed by the asteroid had it continued its path unhindered. There were no damaged, burning fragments of Hachiyak. There was no clang, as the last cracked portion of its armor hit the ground. The greatest war machine the finest scientific minds of a Tuffle race could produce was simply gone. Obliterated atoms scattered to the wind. Goku sighed as he settled to the ground. Actually, I'm surprised that didn't take more out of me. I guess I did take my time charging it. Where did that come from? Vegeta accused, landing next to Goku, Gohan not far behind. For a second there, you were putting out energy that made Hachiyak look like nothing! Yeah, Gohan added. How did you do that? Goku leaned over, putting one hand on his son's shoulder. Well, Gohan, remember Krillin's Kaiohameha technique? Where he just focused the Kaioken into an attack, rather than power his strength and speed and so on? So he could make it even more concentrated and raise its power even more. Yeah? Well, that's what came to mind when I was thinking about that Super Kaioken I tried against Cell. I couldn't sustain it for long enough to be effective. So I took Krillin's approach, and it's much, much easier that way. But I seem to have hit a limit at a Kamehameha times 10. Can't seem to go any higher. You do realize I don't know what you're talking about, Vegeta said irritably. In case you haven't noticed, I haven't been around when all these things you're talking about happened! Oh, sure, but I was just talking to Gohan. Goku brushed him off. Honestly, I don't care if you don't understand. Why, you— Your attention, please. Dr. Raichi's voice echoed throughout the now flat landscape, now with some static interference thanks to the tremendous electromagnetic burst Goku's attack had thrown out. I will remind you that I am not defeated yet. If I may remind you of the stakes. The camera swung around, displaying the still-possessed Tarble and Paragus on the screen. Baby, if you will. Yes? A harsh voice rasped from off-screen, the words simultaneously being spoken by Paragus and Tarble as well. The one-eyed one. Stop his heart. Raichi commanded, and on cue, Paragus collapsed, silently spasming, then falling still after several seconds. The red ring faded from his eye, and a faint sigh escaped Baby, who from the sound of things was standing right next to the camera, only just out of view. Now, Raichi looked back at the camera. If any of you try to leave, this one's death, he indicated Tarble, will not be as quick. Perhaps I shall have him try to eat himself. You are to enter the tower, and we will continue our battle inside. Our science will overcome your strength, and I will at last rest. The Saiyans were totally silent as they entered the tower, passing under the cavernous archway and into the gloom within. Their breath was visible, but the chill of the refrigerated interior was staved off by the heat of their auras. I'd just like you to know, Kakarot, Vegeta whispered, in case we die in here, that you are the bane of my existence. And you, Goku replied, of all the people I've met, you are the most hard-headed, arrogant moron ever to walk the universe. Gohan smiled, suppressing a laugh at the adults' bickering, before sinking back into his thoughts. We should make this quick. I don't know if I can maintain Super Saiyan 2 much longer. And the longer it goes on, the more likely I'll snap like I did back then against Hachiyak. So what's your deal anyway? Goku asked loudly, staring defiantly up at the unlit ceiling. I thought the Saiyans killed your race. And I thought Frieza killed yours, came the distant reply. Still, I may as well tell you. Your executioners are not quite combat ready yet. It will pass the time. Raichi cleared his throat. It's true that we lost the war that night of the full moon, but our scientists, even in those last days, were still hard at work, hoping for a miracle which to drive back the monsters besieging us. Our king had entrusted the bulk of this task to me and my brilliant colleague, Dr. Mew. He was killed by a Saiyan scout party while en route to the capital, and his great work, Baby, was left unfinished. I, meanwhile, was working on Hachiak, but had to leave that too incomplete when I realized it was simply not possible to have it combat ready in time to save us, as the full moon spelled our doom. So I quickly reactivated an earlier experiment, a machine powered by a substance of my own creation I called Destron gas, which would create the perfect soldiers. Ghost warriors. Ghost warriors? Goku listened, wide-eyed as he'd heard the history of his home planet so long hidden from him. Is he really the bad guy here? Can I blame him for wanting payback for his whole species? Wouldn't I want Frieza destroyed? Indeed. The machine draws on souls in the afterlife, using their hatred for an enemy. In this case, the Saiyans, as an anchor. I sent a rocket with this machine, plus the incomplete baby and Hachiak on board, away to a safe, uninhabited planet. Then when a giant, transformed Saiyan crushed me underfoot, the machine pulled me back to the land of the living in this form. I am the prototype Ghost Warrior and... I see the newer models are now ready. These, you will find, look exactly as they did in life. My somewhat disturbing appearance is due to the outdated process of my resurrection. I have also taken steps to increase the fighting power of these Ghost Warriors by a great deal. You may find them more challenging opponents than you did the first time around. I have a feeling we're about to meet some old friends, Vegeta muttered, glancing from right to left. Come on! Show yourself! They promptly did so. The Ghost Warriors emerged from the shadows, leering grins plastered on their faces. They spread out in a row, slowly advancing. Frieza, Cooler, Cell, Bojack, Lord Slug. Goku tried to come up with a taunt, a boast, something, anything to boost his confidence. I got nothing. We're gonna die, aren't we? Gohan backed away, trembling. Vegeta sighed. It wouldn't surprise me. Dun dun dun! Another cliffhanger! What'll happen next? Well, we'll have to tune in next time. Thank you so much for listening to chapters 54, 55, and 56. The second part of the Countdown Saga is quite interesting so far. Plan to eradicate the Saiyans, GT, all woven together into one. It's certainly a strange combination. I personally haven't seen GT, but reading this, seeing it come into fruition and writing, I bet you anything it's probably a lot better than whatever GT cooked up. But anyway, that's enough rambling. Tune in next time. What will happen next? Will these Ghost Warriors be a considerable threat? And what about Baby? What threat will he pose to our heroes? Find out next time. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to like, favorite, comment, and subscribe. Tell your friends. Follow me on Twitter to keep up to date with the show. And as always, I'll see you in the next video. Stay safe. Ginger Powers, signing off.